Welcome to the Squared Away Life podcast. My name is Camden Busey, and I have been working through chapters in my forthcoming book, The Compounding Mind. Today we come to chapter 5, Intentionality in Practice. If you'd like to get a copy, a free copy in EPUB and PDF format of this book, you can subscribe to my email newsletter at squaredawaylife.com. As I record this, it's early January, and every January, typically, we like to set our goals and set our New Year's resolutions, but let's be honest, how many of us set very ambitious goals every January, but by March or even earlier, they're forgotten or changed? What do we do with that? Well, we need to consider how we can implement a practice and a habit of daily review with cascading goals that help us break the big picture down into things that are meaningful and achievable. Intentional living requires alignment with your daily actions and with your vision for your life, with your values ultimately, and what that's going to look like in the future. The daily review process that I'm advocating for in this book, which is to review your notes, your journal every day. And as you do so, you look at all of your notes from 1 week ago, 1 month ago, and every year prior. When you do that, that creates an alignment in your life. And it can create alignment through cascading goals, multi-scale goals. Let's look at these. You can have lifetime goals. What do you want to become? Who do you want to become? But then you can break that down into 5 to 10-year goals. What major achievements are going to define this chapter of your life? Then you have your annual goals. What will you accomplish this year? I'd like for you to consider breaking those down even into quarterly goals. What are your next roughly 90-day priorities? Then you got to consider monthly goals. What must happen this month, which breaks down to weekly goals. What are this week's key outcomes? And then the daily goal. What are you going to accomplish today? Each morning's review shows you all these levels. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. It sounds like it, but trust me, it doesn't have to be overwhelming. But every morning when you do your review, you can look at your multi-scale time block. You can look at your cascading goals here and help you to develop a constant alignment between today's tasks and your long-term vision. Now, beyond goals, the daily review keeps you oriented to your values. When you capture and review regularly, you develop an intimate awareness of what actually matters to you. Not what you think should matter, but what actually does. You notice when you feel most alive and most engaged, when you're lit up. But on the other hand, you also start to notice which activities drain you, regardless of their supposed importance or what other people think. You see what you consistently prioritize when time gets tight. This reveals the true commitments that are beneath your stated intentions. And perhaps most illuminating, you catch the moments where your stated values and your lived values actually diverge. They go in different directions. And this is the gap between who you say you want to be and who you are actually being, if that makes any sense. Well, this awareness enables a course correction before you drift too far from your intended path and before you get lost. Without it, you can spend months or even years pursuing goals that look impressive, but that leave you empty inside or avoiding what truly energizes you because it doesn't fit your self-concept. The daily review creates a feedback loop between intention and action, which keeps you honest about what you're actually building with your life. Now, I'd like to consider for a minute a big $10 word, as my kids would say, teleology. Teleology is the study of purpose, the examination of ends rather than means. To live teleologically is to orient your life toward a chosen purpose, allowing that destination to shape your daily choices. This requires knowing both where you're headed as well as where you currently stand. Well, the daily review provides both perspectives. Your destination becomes clear through recurring themes in your daily capture. Your capture is moment by moment. And when you review notes from months and years past, certain aspirations appear consistently. You're going to notice this. It's going to reveal to you what you genuinely want rather than what momentarily excites you. You start to see patterns in what brings you joy and satisfaction. Not just isolated moments of happiness, but the deeper fulfillment that comes from being aligned with your actions and your ultimate purpose. Over time, these patterns surface your documented vision and goals, not as abstract ideals, but as lived desires that have proven themselves through repetition. But knowing where you want to go means nothing without knowing where you are. Your position emerges through the accumulated evidence of your daily reviews. You see progress on concrete metrics, such as the tangible changes that you've made, the capabilities that you've developed over time, and the milestones that you have reached. You can measure the distance from previous positions, understanding not just that you have moved, but how far and in which direction. And critically, you see your current challenges and your resources with clarity, understanding both what stands in your way and what you have available to work with. Now, together, these two perspectives create momentum. They also create trajectory. You're not merely moving, but you're moving purposefully. You're not just busy, but you're advancing towards something that matters. The daily review transforms vague ambition into a directional progress, like a vector, giving you both the compass and the map. Now, most people fail at intentional living. They don't live according to their telos, their goal, their ultimate end and purpose. But they fail at this not from a lack of vision, but often from a lack of implementation. The daily review bridges this gap by addressing the 4 critical factors that determine whether your goals will become a reality or whether they will just remain aspirations. First, daily review makes goals unavoidable. When you see your commitments every morning during your review, they cannot fade into the background noise of the urgent things in your day, the noise, the stuff, the static. Your intentions will stay present rather than becoming those vague things that you'll get to someday. Second, it creates accountability between your past and your future selves. Past you made commitments to future you, and present you sees the record of those promises. Well, this temporal accountability is often more powerful than external accountability because you can't rationalize or excuse your way out of what you've documented in your own words. But third, daily review enables continuous adjustment. You can modify tactics while maintaining your strategy. You can test different approaches to see if the same goal is achievable without abandoning the goal itself when one method doesn't work. Now, this flexibility prevents the all or nothing thinking that kills most change efforts. But fourth, it allows you to celebrate incremental progress. You start to see advancement that would be invisible without the historical record. And the small wins that you don't notice day to day, they compound when you acknowledge them, creating a momentum that carries you forward. Now, maintaining this momentum matters more than any single day's effort. Daily engagement prevents goal decay, or your goals from fading away, which is that slow drift where priorities gradually lose their urgency until they disappear entirely. The daily review keeps your goals alive in your attention, which keeps them alive in your actions. So let's get this squared away. The key principle here, daily review transforms vague intentions into aligned actions. And the simple action here is that you ought to write your quarterly goals and review them each morning this week. And I want you to understand this mindset shift into experience. I want you to move from I hope to achieve something to I am systematically progressing toward that reality. Well, thank you so much for watching and for listening. This has been the Squared Away Life podcast. Again, if you would like to get a copy of my book, The Compounding Mind, a pre-publication copy, you can subscribe to my email newsletter at squaredawaylife.com for a limited time. It's available there. My name is Camden Busey. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next time.